Last week, it was announced that Janet Hubert would be joining the cast of the TBS comedy The Last OG starring Tracy Morgan. Hubert will have a reoccurring role on the series entering its 4th season. It's been some time since we've seen Hubert in a primetime comedy series, especially considering her public exit from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air back in 1993. Not too long after Hubert's good news, another comedy legend, Monique, revealed that she'll be back on the road doing stand-up in shows in Atlanta and Mississippi, making her return to the stage since the pandemic. Both women received tons of support from fans as they were excited to see these talented women starting to work again. Both women are examples on how being a Black woman in Hollywood who knows their worth and refuses to accept anything less can hinder their careers. Today, we've got our comedy hype analysts, Rita, Brent, and Pierre, calling into the show to talk about Janet and Monique's return, and we have to ask the question, did being outspoken pay off for these women? Pierre, I'm going to start with you. I know, we've had this conversation, but now these women are making their comeback, if you will. Do you think, them being outspoken paid off?
Well, it all depends on what you call paying off. One is, let's say the Hubert, Miss Hubert, Janet Hubert. I think she had a problem. I don't know exactly, but I think she had a problem working with Will and feeling like he wasn't professional and so forth. And I think that was her problem. And, and she butted heads with the star of the show, a hip hop artist who was Will Smith, and wound up getting taken off the show. Now, I don't know what you're fighting for when you do that. It's not like a political move or something like that. It's just a comfort zone she didn't feel comfortable with. And yes, since then, with her outspokenness, I feel like she got blackballed. People figure, hey, man, look, just because you don't work with somebody, if you start talking about how they ain't professional and they ain't on your level and so forth, man, this game, you don't know who can make it in this game. You don't know, everyone's not on top. Everyone's not a great actor who's on a sitcom or in a movie and so forth. So, I don't know. With that being said, with that being said, I think it might have been a bad move for me, outside looking in. But if she's happy with being out of the limelight, really, in a show for the last 15, 20 years, and she made a point, fabulous for her. Outside looking in now. Monique, she struck the iron saying she wanted that money. They didn't give her the money. Her trajectory going up kind of stumbled. She felt her value was something that they didn't feel valued. Did she wind up getting her money? No. Right. So what do we do here?
I want to go to Rita. Rita, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think deciding to be outspoken is a risk. And when you take risks, you can expect either to have
hallelujah
or losses. You're either going to have rewards or losses. And so I think it was a combination of those things. It was very saddening and frustrating to see how Monique has suffered, how Janet has suffered, hearing her talk about being broke after she was off of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and contemplating suicide. Nobody wants to go through all of that just for the sake of being outspoken. But to me, it's like you are outspoken now and then you reap the benefits from the progress a little later. So I am always of the mindset to speak your mind and stand for what you believe in. But I just hate that women are categorized as angry or blackballed for saying things, and then men can say the same thing and they're not treated that way. So, it's a gender thing as well that women, have to deal with.
But her point was she felt like he wasn't a caliber actor for her. Is that something to be outspoken about? When you're working with somebody, say they ain't good enough. I can understand she wouldn't get equality pay or something like that. But just say that. I mean, sometimes outspokenness ain't cool just to be outspoken. I think.
Right, but it comes down to two things. What she was saying was that she knows her worth. She's saying that I came from Broadway and then going onto the set of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where it was so loose and unprofessional that bothered her. So why not speak up about that? She's an experienced actress and she had a certain standard. But she did say she was in terms about to do some renegotiating and there were issues there financially too. So, but I'm just not in the business of women being silenced or men, anybody. I don't think you should be silenced.
And Rita, I think you bring up a great point. And Janet did speak up in an interview last month about how her experience was after the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So I want to play that. Let's take a look at that.
And you're only as good as the last job you ever did. We also know that you can make money and the next day you can have no money. And I had also just opened up a studio. I signed a 10-year lease. So I not only had a house, a mortgage, a husband who wasn't working at the time, but I also had a business and a baby, an infant, a infant who needed me desperately. Fresh Prince had not gone into syndication yet. So there was no money for a few years until they did enough episodes to make syndication. So it was hard. There were moments where I felt so broken, so low. I didn't know what I could do. There were moments where I wanted to die, because everywhere I went, people would attack, would say things, would say hurtful things. And I also ended up serving 400 hours of community service over an incident with my home in Burbank that the tenants even used the Fresh Prince shit against me, pulled out a gun at me, and I pulled my gun back, and you just go, this is crazy.
So after viewing that, it just seems that during her time period on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and especially after, she just experienced so much. But now here we have her, stepping into a reoccurring role, which I think can be considered a win for her. Pierre, I want to come to you. What are your thoughts after hearing those things?
Yeah, to approach her in a negative manner because of something that she made a choice on that affected her personally only is ridiculous. Pulling guns out, talking crazy to her is just absolutely ridiculous. You should let somebody do what they did. And I can see her feeling like, being damn near suicide because she loves what she does. She's an artist. She's a true artist. And she wants to do her art and express her art. Well, she didn't like what she was, the position she was on the show. She didn't like that. But, she made the choice and she left, and you should respect that. You should now, again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but you should respect that someone makes a choice. They have a choice. But to get on her about that is absolutely ridiculous. Sometimes we as the fans go way overboard. We take stuff way too personally. We get in people's faces or we feel like they owe us something. They don't owe you jack. It's their life. They can do what they want. I'm going to say that.
No, I definitely agree. Rita, did you have any points on there before we move over to the next?
Just that I'm glad that she persevered. She said that her son saved her life and when she wanted to commit suicide and her husband wasn't working at the time and she had just bought a studio and she needed money and didn't have it. She had every right to give up, but she didn't. So I'm glad that people like Janet Hubert and Monique have that resilient spirit.
And so now on the other end of this, we also see that Monique, in her video said that she's making a comeback to stand up. She's going to be here in Atlanta, Georgia. Rita, she's going to be in your town, or in your state, Mississippi. And after seeing those things, I think a lot of people kind of canceled Monique, but some people were standing with Monique. Rita, I want to come to you first. Hearing that she's making a comeback, she went through what she went through. She made a stand and she made sure to tell Steve Harvey, it's not about the money. She's not playing the money game. She's playing the principle game. What are your thoughts on seeing, Monique take a stand and move forward?
I think the fact that she's returning to stand up is just a golden opportunity because Pierre knows this as a comedian. We have the utmost privilege to put everything that we feel to address everything in our comedy. So considering everything that Monique has gone through with Netflix and suing and trying to get what she feels like she is worth, she's about to put all of this in her stand up. So I think it is amazing that she's coming back to the stage because that's where comedians thrive. It's on stage and people want to hear what we have to say.
Now, Pierre, before we close out, what are your thoughts on that, seeing Monique come back?
I echo the sentiments of Rita, exactly. As a comic, she has a plethora of stuff people want to hear about from her. What she's been through, her point of view in a stand-up comedy way. I'm happy for her. She's one of my homegirls, from the DMV area. So I look forward to seeing it. I want to catch her. And I'm just happy she's back. And I hope she can get past all this and move forward and get that $5 million she wants, for her specials. I think she, with this situation now, she may be in a good position to get it. So come on, Monique. Let's show them what you're about, girl. Show them that DMV spirit.
Absolutely. I can't wait. I'm definitely excited to see both of them back. Like you mentioned, Rita, we go through a lot, especially Black women in this industry, whether it's comedy, the acting world, music, whatever. There's so many things that we encounter. And I do think it's important that women do take a stand and be outspoken. It's okay to be outspoken. Stand your grounds, but understand when you take those grounds, it's just going to take a little while longer for it to pay off. So I think it's paying off for the women. I'm super excited when Monique comes. We all need to get together and make sure we go.
Let's go together. Pierre driving.
Oh yeah, Pierre, you in the driver's seat.
Don't forget to put in them comments now with how you feel.
All right, well, I appreciate y'all calling in today. You heard from us, now we want to hear from you in the comments below. Did being outspoken pay off for both Monique and Janet Hubert? For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
Put it in the comments.
Yo, Pierre, is that you?
Yeah, what's
From
up?
Comedy Hype?
Yeah, that's me, bro.
Yo, I'm such a big fan of yours, yo. I watch you all the time, yo.
Okay, cool.
I got a couple questions. You be saying some wild stuff on the show, though.
Huh?
Like, why you always over-talking Symphony?
Okay.
Why you always got these crazy white man opinions?
Yeah.
And why you always go against what everyone says?
Bruh, put it in the comments, man. I'm not out here.
You a fan of the Comedy Hype News Show? Take a piece of us home with you by purchasing your own mug from each of our correspondents. Available now at comedyhype.com/shop.